So we are going to have just a little change. We're not going to do roll call yet. We're going to swear in our newest board member, and then she can participate in the roll call. So Christina Healy was appointed in our last board meeting, and so in order to be an official board member, she has to be sworn in, and Megan will do that, who's our solicitor and is authorized to do that.
Congratulations. And raise your right hand, please. I, Christina Headley, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and of this Commonwealth, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. And with that, you are sworn in. Congratulations.
Binding, phone, water, microphone.
Now, Mr. McCausland, can you take roll, please?
Sure. Mrs. Feiss? Here. Mrs. Headley? Here. Mrs. Hobby?
Here.
Mrs. Janasek?
Here.
Mr. McGregor?
Present.
Mr. Modrak?
Here.
Mr. Scalzo?
Here.
Mrs. Turner?
Here.
Mr. Christensen?
Here.
All 9 members present.
Thank you. I'd like to announce 2 executive sessions that we held, one on January 9th for personnel, other legal matters, and to receive information, and another one earlier this evening for personnel, other legal matters, and to receive information. Are there any public comments on the agenda items that we're going to discuss tonight? Any call-ins?
No callers.
No call-ins? Okay. So let's go through our committee agendas. The point of this is to discuss each item we have questions about, and then to recommend content to be placed on the overall agenda, the consent agenda for next meeting. So, Mr. Scalzo, can you take the curriculum committee?
Yes, we have 16 items. First one's professional development. Number 2, authorization of student survey. Number 3, 2024-2025 school calendar. Number 4, local holidays. Number 5, high school course selection guide. Number 6, school-sponsored overnight educational activities. Number 7, 2023-2024 booster organization handbook. Number 8, approval of proposal for course name changes. Number 9, proposal to create an elective in partnership with BPTV. Number 10, change to graphics 2 course. Number 11, approval of proposal to reopen library/media position. Let's see here. Number 12, science department proposal. Number 13, proposal to pilot a new biology program. Number 14, proposed revision to music electives. Number 15, approval of math department's proposal. And number 16, introduction to computer science course. Are there any comments and questions?
One in the school calendar, Dr. Walsh, can you walk us through those 3 scenarios? And is there a preferred one based on the construction that we're going to be doing at IMS over the summer?
Yes, thank you. So there are 3 options for the board to consider, and I'm looking for you to move one of these 3 onto the agenda for next week. Option 1 is your traditional standard calendar with the usual start date in mid-August, late August. Option 2 pushes that start date back a week, and then option 3 pushes the start date for students back after Labor Day. We had a request from the construction team at IMS to provide as much summertime as we can for them to complete the work that's dedicated to this summer of Phase 2B, including demolition of the ramp up to the 2nd floor at IMS and installation of the stairwell and elevator in its place, both of which need to be completed before the building could be permitted for occupancy. The extra week, option 2, was acceptable to that team, and it also enables us to have the rest of the holidays and schedules as usual and graduate in a week later in June. Option 3 has to, in order to keep graduation as close to the beginning of June as we could, it does sacrifice some of the other in-service or days off to make up time and not be as delayed as option 2 or option 1 is. So the conversation we've had with the teachers and the Federation, we've had conversation with administrators about it, and there's pretty good consensus that they'd like to see option 2 be the one you move forward with.
I do have a couple of questions. I think this has been brought up before, and I understand the picking of November 1st is a 2-hour delay because it is the day after Halloween. That's been brought up before. But why are we looking at another Friday in May as a 2-hour delay day?
That's a great question. So one of the things we've been talking to the board about, and most recently at the curriculum committee meeting back in December, is the need for as much additional professional development time as we can muster, given both the expectations from the Department of Education for required trainings, as well as our own necessary trainings, program development, and staff development needs. So we're looking at trying to squeeze more time into our PD calendar to get all of that work done. Those 2-hour delays help, and Act 80 days help. And another factor that's worth commenting on here at this point is the fact that the Department of Education has released some information to guide schools with the change in legislation that happened back in November, December, when the governor signed the budgets and those acts. We now are obligated to comply with either 180 days of instruction or 990 hours of instruction. Up until this point, it's been both. You have to have 180 days and 990 hours, which is how you get how we get the number of in-service times that we can squeeze out without losing that instruction time.
Right, and I understand all of that, and that was a great recap for the public. My only concern is it's on a Friday.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. Tell me
I'm
what
just
the,
looking at, that would be a very easy 3-day weekend because you're listening 2 hours of school. So if we're planning something, it's an easy 3-day weekend, especially in May, of not having kids in school on that Friday afternoon.
oh,
I'm saying move it to a Monday, a Wednesday, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying why. I understand why we're doing it on November 1st. That was something that's been brought up in the past of Halloween being on a weekday and doing a 2-hour delay.
Yeah.
But and the other one that we have is in January and it's on a Tuesday. I have made that comment
Yeah.
before. Fridays just don't seem to be a day to run a 2-hour delay.
yeah. And I'm sorry, I was looking at what I thought was an Act 80 day, not an Act
sorry.
80 delay.
No,
So
no,
my
it's-
explanation about the hours probably doesn't make any sense under those circumstances.
I
Because you
think
can-
it does, but
With Act 80 calendar days, they count towards your 990.
Right.
Even though the kids aren't in school for those 2 hours, the work the teachers are doing makes it count towards the 990. So we were looking to add in some Act 80
so
time.
I'm just asking if that day could be moved to another day of the week.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I just don't remember why we picked it.
I think we picked it because we normally don't give Keystone exams or the AP exams. I think we were trying to look at a day in May after we did some of our benchmark testing, because sometimes we use these as data days too, and the Act 44 safety days. And so we tried to pick a day that would not interfere with the ability to do testing and things at the high school. And so can it be moved? Yes, most likely. But I think we just picked
I'm just
it.
seeing, I mean, you read social media, that's an easy,
Yeah. Yeah, it sure,
large absentee day.
yeah, it could be. Alternatively, there's also really important 2 weeks at the high school.
I
and so-
totally agree with you
yeah.
there too. Those first 2.5 weeks in May are very important at the high school.
Yeah. So we'll take another look at that before next week. If we want to move option 2 forward, we can see what other ways we can use that Act 80 time.
I actually don't have much other concerns with option 2. my only other question, which you did answer, was where were we with Site Logic? Because in conversations, the thought process was they were going to need as much time as possible.
Yes, exactly, right. And option 2 or 3 was they were saying either one works for them. I'm sure they'd be happy with option 3, but I think that also puts a lot of different pressures on the school district in the following summer.
Hearing from several parents as this has been posted, most were liking option 2 because of this. There would still be a shortened summer the following summer, but not as short.
Any questions on the calendar or any disagreements with option 2?
I'd like to share a request I received the other day in regards to the Thanksgiving break. The request I received, and I see some merit to it, is the Wednesday, the 27th versus the
Monday the 2nd.
December the 2nd. This was a person who has to, go through one of our district employees, and I can appreciate it too. He's got to sit there and try to get a family meal together. Where the 2nd traditionally is used to be that day because of hunting, and now the hunting rules have kind of changed. Would the board be any interest in reviewing with administration and switching those days to the 27th being the day off and Monday the 2nd they'd be back to school?
Could we also
Would-
look at an option as to an early release day, feeding everybody lunch and early releasing them on Wednesday? Same thing with the one on April 16th.
So the problem we have is transportation right now, is that the early dismissals, with the number of buses and drivers we have, it's almost impossible for us to do an early dismissal and all those extra runs that we're obligated to complete. And Mark, why don't you jump in and finish that sentence?
Can I put a caveat on that, is most parochial schools do not go the Wednesday before Thanksgiving or the Wednesday of Holy Week.
Yeah, most, but we have, I facilitate 39 different organizations outside of our borders. Because we have the midday run, it makes it very challenging. We could do the beginning run and the end run, but because of the midday run, there's going to be overlap with a shortened or a compressed schedule, so it makes it very challenging to do. I get doing the early release, but we would have to craft it in a way that we would stretch it out where it would be almost like a modified schedule where it wouldn't be a true half day. It might be like a 5/8 of a day or something, so that we could facilitate that.
I mean, I understand it's kind of just a full day as long as we have lunch, so.
But Jim, your recommendation was the whole day, swapping the
Swapping the Monday to
There
Wednesday.
wouldn't be any transportation. It'd
So-
just be the day, Wednesday would be off rather than the Monday.
Honestly, I'd be concerned about the same thing you'd said before about a lot of absenteeism. That a lot of people just aren't going to bother going. So why not just make the whole day?
Well, and you have a lot of people that travel too, I think, that weekend. So I feel like, me personally, I feel like it's always been that Monday because we used to have hunting season and now we don't. But still, I think that people would be more upset to see that Monday gone just because it's been forever
Yeah.
than
it's-
to see that
They
Wed-
planned on it.
But-
yeah.
Well, if we're going to drive the buses, I'm in. Didn't some other district, the school board drove the buses, right? Because they were short.
We got that on tape there,
Then-
Mr. or Dr. Korsinski, that she's willing to drive for you.
Good minivans.
Report tomorrow.
I'll warn all residents to not leave your house on that day. Do not leave. Just kidding.
Okay, so then I guess we're talking about option 4, which would be everything in option 2, but moving December 2nd to November 27th. Everything else stays the same. And we can move this calendar forward and still proceed down the road of looking at potential early dismissal schedules that won't conflict with the morning and afternoon kindergarten runs midday. Somehow we'll look at some options that don't have to be on this schedule because we can put them out there after the fact. Okay?
I wanted to, I had heard from a lot of families as well who had kind of forgotten that we have a lot of construction happening right now. So they had said, like, could you just remind people that we are dealing with construction this summer? We are going to have construction next summer for the next several summers, and we try for it to not impact the traditional start of school. But just keep in mind for that, the next couple of years, there's always the potential that things might need to shift a little to make sure that everybody can access the building safely.
Yeah. That's particularly with this particular phase at IMS.
Yeah.
So the option for next Tuesday then is the option 4?
Yeah.
Okay. Is everybody okay with that?
Okay.
I mean, I'll stand up for deer hunters and say that Monday's kind of nice, okay, I enjoy it. But I'm just one of 9, so.
Standing up for mothers, got to cook.
That's probably smarter, yeah.
Happy wife. Not in my house, but happy wife.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for that feedback, and we'll make those changes for.
Does anybody else have any questions about any other items?
Dr. Welsh, can you explain the local holidays?
Yes, so
to the
those
public.
days, so there are days that Pennsylvania school code dictates as having necessary days off. Schools have to be closed on those days. The district historically has added to that list days between Thanksgiving and Christmas, or pardon me, between Christmas and New Year's. And the November 29th date is the day after Thanksgiving, which is not one of those required days either. So we're asking for the board's approval to make those local holidays so that our employees would be off those days.
Yes.
I just
It
wanted
has to be.
clarification. I just wanted clarification for the
Yeah.
public.
Mm-hmm. Most of the items in this category, this section of the agenda, are all coming from Curriculum Council, which the board heard in-depth information at the December Curriculum Committee meeting. And we took a lot of questions and feedback from you at that point. So just moving them tonight is just sort of the formality now to make them all complete.
So I guess the one question I had, there's a few things we're adding and, you know, splitting one course into 2. Do we kind of know what that's going to do to the enrollment in those classes? And are we also doing things, you know, for adding, are we removing some things from the catalog? Because, you know, our course catalog's a little bit bloated, you know, there's a ton of things we haven't ran in a long time. I think you know, we also, every year, we approve courses that have less than 10 students in them. And is this going to propagate that problem?
Well, we're not going to get away from approving courses that are under the certain threshold, which I'll remind the board, we moved that number up to a higher threshold,
Okay.
more in line with what we've been seeing previously. So the threshold for those courses has moved up, so it's more like 14 now. And those are typically like your AP courses that we want to run but don't get a full robust class size for it. And so you've approved those. Typically, we haven't run courses for you that are under 14 that are just elective singletons, fun classes that we want to fill up our schedule. The other side of your coin is the bloated handbook or the student catalog, the course catalog. You know, it's a comprehensive high school, and we have a lot of options for kids. We have a lot of electives, and we pride ourselves on all those electives, academic electives and extracurricular type electives, the arts and athletic programs, all activities that students get passionate about. So I'm okay with them in the course catalog. I'm okay that kids can have those choices, and I'm okay bringing you a class size sections that are going to be under 14, knowing that we're not going to be running some of these classes 2 or 3 or 4 years in a row. But that 5th year, when you get a group of kids interested, I want to make sure it's there for them. I want to make sure it's optional. So there's no things coming out of the course catalog, unless they haven't run in, say, 5 years. I don't know, that was a very long-winded answer to say, course catalog is still as loaded as ever, and we're tweaking it here again, but it doesn't mean you're going to get more classes under 14.
Okay.
Is that number right, 14? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other questions on any other items?
I did want to clarify, a couple of people had contacted me about the survey for the start time. And I just wanted to clarify so that they're aware that it will be released to the community. This is on the agenda for going to students in 5th through 12th grade, but that it will shortly be released to everyone, because we would very much like to hear from teachers, from staff, administration, families, people who own businesses and employ high school students, everybody. So everyone will get a chance to take that. That is not a live link right now, though.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying.
Any other questions? I recommend items 1 through 16 be put on the consent agenda with the calendar option 4, I think that we agreed on.
Sounds good. And normally I would have number 6 withheld since my wife is on there, but I'm going to be gone next week, so I'll be abstaining from all voting next week. So that can be a part of the consent agenda. Okay. Personnel Committee. Mr.
Okay, tonight
McGregor.
we have 5 items on the list. Number 1, acceptance of resignations. Number 2, change of assignment. Number 3, appointment of personnel. Number 4, approval of unpaid leave of absence. And number 5, approval of EDR program 2324. Any questions, discussion? All right, hearing none, I'd like to move items 1 through 5 to the consent agenda.
Okay. Ms. Turner, can you take the Finance Committee items?
Yes. Number 1 is the December 2023, January 2024 salary and bills. Number 2 is the December 2023 financial report. Number 3 is budget transfers. And number 4 is approval of website compliance agreement with Civic Plus in the amount of $3,000 for the public website accessibility and compliance services. And number 5 is the payment of Independence Middle School Phase 2 renovations to Site Logic for $706,438. And number 6 is the approval of a student services contract. Mr. Minch, can you explain number 6?
So many of you are aware that this past summer, students that had previously been graduating by the age of 21, they had changed the legislation that students could go to school until the day before their 22nd birthday. So we reassumed some students back into our ranks that we had not planned for prior to that, which happened late August. We've been servicing a student that came back to us, and a part of their program is going to be some job coaching. And so this contract allows us to get a few hours of job coaching to this student as a part of their transition program. So,
Well, do we see, with the change in age, do we see this becoming necessary more?
yeah, well, I do, because, you know, the real focus is on vocational skills. And I think, you know, you're only going to be attending the high school for so long. You know, you need to be working on those vocational skills. We are making plans to look at how we can implement more vocational skills for our kids. But until that plan can really get off the ground to the highest degree, we need to rely on some third-party service providers to do that. And so I think you will expect to see that from time to time.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure.
Any other questions on the finance items?
Okay, I move
Just-
1 to,
Indirectly, because this says the number 4, approval website compliance agreement. Not so much of that, is but Mr. Cromie has got the new website up and running. Is everything functioning now? Because I know as a transition, we were missing a few things.
Yeah, we're still migrating some things over, but we're much better. Our DNS certificates are up and ready to go, and
I saw the
It's significantly.
employment drop-down box is now working, because
Right.
again, we're still looking to hire, different aides. and
yeah, we
drivers.
did that, and we're able to sync all the calendars to it, which is a big reason why people visit our website. We're getting the food service stuff up, and then and we're slowly kind of putting it together where it'll be back. We are reshaping the way that we deliver information on the website, and it's just a process of kind of figuring out. It's kind of like cleaning out your garage. The last time we did it was 2011, and it's trying to figure out what are some of the things that are really important to our people. We had so much information on the old website that it became hard to find things. And so with people now, we know that about 75% of our users come through a phone. So it's really a matter of optimizing it for a phone as our priority rather than as a laptop as our priority. So that process is going to be ongoing, but it's something that we've made a lot of progress in the last couple weeks.
Thank you.
Could you tell me, did we get the student excuse back up? Or if not, I know a lot of kids are sick, so there's a whole chain of people sharing a PDF of one to print out at home. I just want to tell people that they can contact their building and have
Yeah,
the building send
yeah.
it to you, or just send them an email.
Yeah.
They'll work it out with you if you can't find it online.
Yeah, there's definitely, like I said, there's lots of things that we're finding that are urgent right now, and some we have a little bit of time on. And it gives us an opportunity to reshape some of the way we are presenting some of the things. But so far, the feedback's been very positive.
It looks great.
Thank you.
This motion there, Mr. Crummy, if you wouldn't mind, just so everybody understands why we're contracting, would you explain what this company does for us?
Sure, Moncito, it's an accessibility and optimization website. So it just makes sure, something that we believe in is that all Bethel Park students and families of all abilities and disabilities should have the right to use our website in various ways. This is a compliance website with ADA and other government things, and it just allows people, it's a tool that allows us to track how well we are doing. It's also an efficiency website, so if there's a broken link, a spelling error or something, it kind of lets us know, and we can go in, and because links do break with websites. So all of those things together, it's really good, and it's the best product on the market. It's a product that many school districts use, and it's something that I'm very excited to bring to our website.
Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, now, do you want me to move 1 to 6 to the consent
Yeah,
agenda?
any objections to putting 6 of them on the consent agenda? Okay. Under other, I can just take those. Student agreement, that should go in the consent, not much to discuss there. On the health and safety plan, can you just highlight any changes? Is this just a copy of what we did before?
Right, so as the board remembers, 6 months ago, we put it on the agenda. As we receive ESSER's money or CARES money, we're obligated to update it every 6 months. There are no changes to the protocols or practices or the policies. It's just compliance with that requirement.
Okay.
So it'll be posted there, and then we'll submit it to PDE as an updated version.
Okay.
There are no changes.
Any objections to putting those 2 items on the consent agenda?
Can we add an item, Mr. Christensen? I'm not sure what the protocol is, but can we add back in the Post-Gazette as one of our advertising venues for the district? I'd like that to be available to them to expand our reach as far as possible.
Yeah. Can it be added to this, or do we have to make it as a motion, separate motion? I guess that's maybe more of a parliamentary procedure. Is there any problem with just adding it, having an agreement here? And
No, I think you're free to add at this point, through
Yeah.
discussion, items. Yeah, I do.
yeah, any
It
opposition
doesn't
to
per se
that?
have a cost. And
Yeah.
if you'd like to open it to the floor to the public just for a moment, if they would want to weigh in on that one limited item as a.
But if you could add it to consent agenda, I guess, things can always be pulled off individually from the consent agenda.
Yeah, I would like you to hold that off the consent agenda, please. Thanks.
Okay. And leave it as a separate line item under other.
Got that, Mr. McCauley?
Okay, good topic, though, you know, because I remember we did pull that off before. Okay, great. Any other comments on what we just talked about on the committee items, agenda items? None? Any public comments on anything related to school business? You have 2 minutes. No? Any call-ins?
No Collins.
No? Board comments?
Congratulations to our new board member on her first
Congratulations.
successful meeting. She kept it nice and
You
quick
made
and
it?
smooth.
Yeah.
Welcome to our little corner.
I was just going to say, I do like the new website, and I especially like that it's mobile first. It has a good mobile experience with kind of the 4 most common things that appear on the bottom, which, you know, that's what we always have to do. I mean, everybody, especially parents, are busy, and they got to find the information quickly. And so I think the website's great. You know, I think as long as we can also publish newsletters like that also, mobile first, I think that's really important, so.
I just have one comment, and I know it has to do with our new call-in system. I got many parent inquiries this morning as to, there were only text messages and emails sent about the 2-hour delay today. Is there any chance that robocalls do come back? And it's only because, as many parents say, this morning it was 5:45 before they got that text message, and most of their high school students are moving by 6 a.m. Because they're catching the bus by 20 after 6. So it was a little late this morning. I know we were early tonight in calling a flexible instruction day tomorrow, so that will happen tomorrow. But my question is, a 5:45 phone call would have gotten out much quicker than the text messages. Parents aren't watching it at 5:45. Text messages are not being watched at 5:45 in the morning.
Yeah, we can certainly talk to our vendor and see if that's something that they would be willing to add and are able to add. We haven't had that conversation yet, but I'll talk to them about it.
Is it still on TV? Like, all,
Yes.
It is, so
you
if,
don't have email or?
Yeah, I've been
Keep it
scrolling
quick.
for the last 20 minutes to see if we're delayed tomorrow. So it's, you can find it. I don't understand. If it's cold out, go look at your computer.
I just
Sorry.
don't-
well, we want to try to reach as many people in as many ways as we can. So I appreciate that, and I agree with that. We always reach out to the 3 local television stations. It's on all of our social media channels. It's on our website, and of course, we'll try to reach them through Parent Square by email, text, and we'll check on the phone.
But like one parent said to me, and then I finally looked at my phone, I had 22 emails at 5:45 in the morning from different things. And that email goes to my work email and to my personal email. So it could have, if you're not up in the morning, it is lost in the shuffle. And you, at this point in time this morning, most of them had about a half hour in checking that email and not having high school kids moving in the morning already.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, Dr. Lynch. It is totally, it is something that,
Yeah.
and it can change, but right now I think we need a little bit more of a transition if we're not doing it without snow.
And probably with snow and temperature, I mean, people are aware, but what if there's a water main break? I can guarantee you, there's probably 50% of people that get that message because they're probably not expecting it. You know, here, at least
Right.
with weather-related things, they're expecting it. So you need a
Yeah.
little bit of a stronger nudge.
I'll be
Yeah,
honest
that's a
with you.
conversation that we had today. It was like, what happens if you have a power outage or something unexpected?
That
Yeah.
was my thought process in it, because let me be honest, if, you know, if there is, the other thing somebody said is, when I really noticed is I didn't get a call when my child was absent. And there have been a lot of kids that have been out of school this week, and there's no phone calls.
Just one of the efficient ways, this is just a little historical thing for me. When I was at West Jeff, we had a police incident that took 2 or 3 of our bus runs out of service, and we were trying to get that message out as quickly as possible. We learned from that. But I just was saying, just being prepared, because it doesn't have to always have to be a weather incident. It could be something else within the community. And that's why I'd rather see all of the availability tools still to us. I know there's an expense, but, because again, not everybody phone could be for whatever reason.
And there was a lot of that this morning.
Yeah.
But we'll certainly have the conversation.
Any other comments? Any other board comments? Is there a motion to adjourn? In whatever order you want. All in favor? Opposed? Meeting adjourned.